Today in Global Garden in Roblox, I want to tell you how to farm the new egg in the fairy event. As you can see right now, the pre-event fun is occurring. The admin abuse event is occurring, and the update will drop in exactly 35 minutes from filming. But I do know how you're supposed to farm the egg, and I know some details about how to farm it pretty fast. Now, the really fast way, if there is one, I'll discover that later. But for now, here's the first information. If this sounds interesting to you, go ahead and hit that red subscribe button. Become part of the first 200k OGs on the channel. And let's get into the video as Jando goes to karate slice the map. This is actually one of the coolest mutations. 1 second. I like watching this. I mean, just watch. Just goes, whoosha! That's awesome. So we have leaks, and the leaks actually leak everything. And they tell you everything. So I'm going to tell you how you're going to farm the eggs. I'm getting this to you ASAP, as soon as I humanly can. So here's the brand new information. We know what's exactly in the egg. The divine pet is something called the cockatrice. It is a fantasy creature. It will buff fruits and also buff eggs and buff pets. It's really crazy. So it has two abilities. Silver Screech. Screeches and all fruits within 20 to 40 studs have a 20 to 40% chance to turn silver and a 1 to 3% chance to turn gold. So think the dragonfly potentially, but for a bunch of fruits. But this is even more interesting. Venom Spit. You know the Dilophosaurus? Spits to 5 to 10 different fruits, eggs, or pets. Fruits get toxic, eggs advance, and pets gain XP. So if you have one of these and you wanted to just focus on eggs, have no other pets in your garden. If you wanted to focus just on fruits, have no other pets or no eggs in your garden. And if you wanted to just spit experience onto pets, have no eggs or fruits in your garden. You see how this works? You can kind of choose which way to do it. He is the divine pet. Then we have a legendary imp who occasionally wants to play with you. Every 6.66 minutes, haha, the imp will playfully invite you to chase it. Catching the imp will grant a random reward, and the imp has a chance to play again. Though it doesn't list what those rewards are. We'll wait for the wiki to tell us. Now, there's other information in here about leveling up NPCs. I will tell you all that in a future video. I mean, you can glance at it right now. But we're going to focus on farming the eggs right now. Though the cocoa mango fruit being nearly as good as a bone blossom, didn't see that one coming. So here we are looking at the fairy fountain. And this image right here is one I want you to take very close attention to. This image right here tells you what you will need to level up your fairy fountain or your fairy godmother at each level. Take very close attention to this. When you start off in the event, you're going to be at stage 1. And as such, you're going to need the following plants: strawberries, blueberries, orange tulips, tomatoes, corn, and daffodil. These are the things the fountain may require of you, the things that must receive glimmering. So if you want to level up your fountain as fast and efficiently as possible, what you're going to want to do is have a garden with only strawberries, blueberries, orange tulips, tomatoes, corn, and daffodils in them. And then once they start to receive glimmering during the event, you can hand those in, level up your fountain or your godmother, whatever you're leveling up in this game. And then after that, you get to stage 2 and you remove all those little fruits out of your game and you keep the following: tomato, corn, daffodil. You keep those, but then you get watermelon, pumpkin, apple, and bamboo. You see how this works. And then when you reach stage 3, you're keeping watermelon, pumpkin, apple, and bamboo, but you're adding coconut, cactus, dragon fruit, and mango and removing the tomatoes and corn. And you keep stepping your way down like this. So this image is going to be super, super useful to you. Pay close attention, screenshot it, write these things down if you want to, pause the video if you need to, because this is going to be how you level up your fairy godmother or your little tree or whatever it is that you're leveling up in the event. I don't know yet. Now, this was posted at like midnight last night, so I highly doubt anything about this is going to change. Now, right here, you have the rewards from the fairy fountain. And obviously we're interested in the eggs. We're going to get seed packs. We're going to get cosmetic crates along the way to acquiring eggs, but we're interested in acquiring eggs. The first tier, tier 1, there's no chance to get eggs. You see the enchanted seed pack, the fairy points are what you need to help level up. So make sure you pick up the fairy points to help you level up. The enchanted crate, the glimmering radar, and the fairy targeter. We don't have eggs in tier 1. Once you finally jump up to tier 2, you have eggs. And eggs are only a 5% chance to get 1. So you don't want to stay at tier 2. There's no tier you really want to stay at. You're trying to get to tier 5. So tier 2, you finally have eggs added. It's only a 5% chance. It's not that great. Then in tier 3, you get a single egg and it jumps up to a 10% chance. So that's nice. I also appreciate that the fairy points you get at stage 3 jump from 500 each to 750 each. which is nice. It'll help you scale up faster. So the eggs jump up to 10% chance once you get the thing leveled up to stage 3. And remember, we're using these plants right here to level up through the stages. So always keep that in mind. At stage 4, it jumps up to a 15% chance for a single enchanted egg. And then at stage 5, the chance drops to 10%. You may be thinking to yourself, well, Crow, if we're at 15% at stage 4, why not just stay at stage 4? Well, because at stage 5, eggs go 10% for eggs, but the eggs are 3 eggs instead of 1 egg. So there's actually a lot of value jumping up to stage 5. That's why I mentioned stage 5 is the goal, and stage 5 no longer has more useless things like the glimmering radar or the fairy targeter. Those are no longer in the pool. Stage 5 is only seed packs, crates, eggs, pet shards, and something new called the Aurora Vine. It must be a plant unique to this event, only found in stage 5 of this event. Now, I'm going to get into more detail about the event once I have access to it, because as you can see right now, we're not even live yet. The update's not even out. I want you to know, ooh, are we getting a restock? I want you to know how to get the eggs, because eggs are the most important thing for us in this game as people who enjoy the pet part of Grow a Garden. He restocked a bug egg, so I'm just going to go over here and grab the bug egg. Ooh, mythical egg, thank you. Bug egg, 2 bug eggs, thank you. And obviously here is the egg with Ladybug at 50%, the Pixie at 29%, the Imp at 15%, Glimmering Sprite at 5%, and the Cockatrice, that rare thing, at 1%. And Seizure has given us a basic overview of the event, and he says you can now feed Sam. We talked about that, or I will talk about it in a future video. There are new admin weathers and stuff, and one giving an egg reward. That's interesting. There's new pets, which we talked about. And there's a new event, which is basically like the Zen event, which is interesting. I wonder if we get our Kadama method in this game. And then Rebirths. We'll talk about that in a future video as well. Luckily, the Grow a Garden wiki has updated their information. Maybe we have new things to learn. Now, one thing I remembered about this event is we have this fairy upgrade system. The fairy upgrade system is going to be pretty important to you as you move along, and you're going to want to have to spend some of your fairy points here as opposed to leveling up your fairy tree or fairy godmother or whoever it is you're leveling up. Because, as you can see, fairies at first can only target common plants. So unless you level up this first category, you're not going to be able to have them target the rarer plants you're going to need to level up to level 2, level 3, etc. to get to level 5 to get those 3 eggs at a time. So you're going to want to spend some of your fairy points to do fairy quality, but don't forget the other 2 and don't neglect them. Increasing the duration of the fairy event increases the amount of fairies that go out and pollinate, or in this time, glimmerize your plants. But the fairy spawn amount is also important because that means every time the fairies go out, instead of 1 fairy going out, applying glimmering and flying back, I guess, you get 2 or 3 or upwards of potentially 10. So all of these are important together. Fairy spawn amounts makes your fairy event duration more meaningful, and fairy event duration makes all of the fairies you spawn more meaningful. So they tie together very nicely. So don't neglect one over the other. Level them both together. This is pretty important. And then obviously you'd really need to do fairy quality so that you can actually target the correct plants for hand-ins to level up your tree or fairy godmother or whatever it is we're leveling up. And that explains this image with this meter along the right-hand side. Level 1, level 2, level 3, level 4, and then level 5, the glowing goal that we're trying to get to for eggs. Because once you hand in your hand-ins, you make your wish, and your make-a-wish looks like this, where you pick from 3 rewards, and early on and often you're going to want to pick fairy points over and over and over to level up your fairy stuff. That is everything I have for you for this event before the event drops. Once the event drops, I can start to really get a feel for it. I can check all the things and try and figure out the fastest method to play this game. Hopefully you found this useful. Hopefully you found it valuable. If you did, go ahead and hit the subscribe button. Become part of the first 200,000 OGs on the channel. And as always, guys, thank you very much for watching.